children go to school, where the guilty are condemned and the innocent defended, where none will die from biting poverty, and where none lives in loneliness, grief, or pain. I have a dream, dream, dream of a nation of the Lord. How I always want to dream, 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 it will soon be here. I have a dream that it will be so. Every day I want to dream, dream, dream till I can dream no more.
Beautiful, beautiful.
You like that?
I love it.
Oh,
I love
man.
it.
If you knew that I wrote that song way back in 1992.
I wasn't even born.
You are not born. The dream is still not fulfilled. I hope with this next election it will.
We never know.
Yeah, no, I know.
You know.
I know that I will do my very best to bring Kenya to the place where that dream is possible. It's up to Kenyans to give me that mandate.
Ah, beautiful.
Yes.
Now, Dr. Reuben Kigame is just not a celebrated musician and a teacher. He is also a justice advocate who has ambitions for the highest seat in the land. Now he wants to be Kenya's next president. He says he is bringing a vision of leadership rooted in faith, character, and people-centered development. Tonight, we sit with him here to talk about his vision and why he believes Kenya is ready for change. Daktari, karibu sana KBC. And please
Thank you.
Start by telling us, why should Kenyans support and vote for you as president come 2027?
I think if we keep repeating the same mistakes, then nothing will change in this country. We have tried them all. We have heard the promises and the lies and so on. I think what Kenyans should be looking for now is authentic, character-driven servant leadership. And that is based on values, where you put people first. My philosophy remains utu, haki, na maadili. Utu is just human dignity, haki is about justice, and the maadili is about values, you know. That if you have that philosophy in place, now you can bring the nation to where it needs to be. And I have 3 public commitments vis-a-vis bomoa ufisadi, that's dismantle corruption, 2, tekeleza katiba, implement the constitution, and thirdly, jenga Mkenya, empower, build the individual Kenyan citizen, because development is not about things, it's about people. And if you want to know that people have actually been developed or grown, you look at their faces, you look at their stomachs, zimejaa mapana. Are the children going to school? Do the young people have jobs? You know, is diaspora able to invest here? Do we have health services? You know, in the villages, not kila mtu kuja Kenyatta Hospital.
Of course.
Yeah, so that's what I'm looking at. The rebirth, the reboot, the restart of Kenya away from that neo-colonial state and into a place where promises are kept, where citizens are placed at the center, and where things like corruption, which is really just theft, are hit so hard. You hit from day one until Kenya has a rebirth. Yes. That's the dream I had way back as a teacher at Maryhill High School. I've carried that dream through all the constitutional dispensation issues and all of that. I ran in Vihiga County, where I come from, Bunyore, ran there for governor. And in 2022, of course, I ran for the highest office, lakini IBC walifanya ile kitu.
In 2022?
Yes, yes.
I even wanted to ask you about that. Have those differences been solved, and how differently are you looking to approach the commission this time around?
What happened to me is probably one of the saddest things when it comes to institutional services, because IEBC is an independent institution, you know, that should be a referee, a fair player. But the late Chebukati, God bless his soul, and the team, all of them, connived to ensure that they had what you call the two-horse race. That is President William Ruto now and the former Prime Minister Raila. Those are the two people that were floundered for, you know, the two-horse race. So all of us had to be eliminated. And I was in court with the IBC lawyers who said that if Reuben Kigame was put on the ballot, then none of those two would have 50+1. That's on record. So I took them to court, of course, and Justice Murima ruled that I should be put on the ballot. Guess what? They took me to the Court of Appeal to stay that judgment, meaning it was very intentional. And to prove to you that it was very intentional, that matter has never been heard to this day.
Wow.
Yes. So I'm hoping that 2027, first of all, I will not just be the only one fighting for justice for candidates, but that we will see Kenyans rise and say, if Kigame is not on the ballot, then IEBC should be dismantled. And at the same time, you know, EACC had 241 names of aspirants, candidates that were not fit to hold office. 241. A lot of them made it into government. And so if you want to convince me that Kenya has moved on, you'd have to show me Kenyans crying like the Gen Zs for accountability, for justice, for the rule of law. And that is what a Kigame presidency brings to the table.
Okay.
We did not begin, I did not start in 2024 with the Gen Zs. I was asking for accountability way from 2020.
Back, yeah.
Yes, yes.
So we want to take a short break right here on Easy Friday, but when we come back, you have to tell us, you speak of most often about character-driven leadership. I need to know what virtues do you think is currently lacking in the current leadership, and how are you looking to sort that?
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank
you.
Let's
take a short break. We will be right back here on Easy Friday. Welcome back. We are with Dr. Reuben Kigame in studio. And once again, he's back in the spotlight because once more he's asking Kenyans to trust his vision for the nation. Come 2027, he's asking you to make him president. Daktari, before we took a short break, we were talking about character-driven leadership.
Correct.
Kindly tell us, what virtues do you believe are mostly lacking and urgently needed in Kenya?
So the first thing is we go back to the Constitution, because Article 10 lists the values of integrity, patriotism, you know, the possibility to be accountable and so on. All these virtues are supposed to guide policy, and no decision can be taken and no policy can be made without Article 10. Then you have Chapter 6, which has got to do with integrity, especially in leadership. And it says it very clearly that nobody who is adversely mentioned or who is unfit to hold office because they have, you know, failed the integrity test should actually be in leadership. You go all the way to the public service in Article 232. Even in serving in the public service, you've got to uphold values. Now, for me, that is probably one of the greatest things the Constitution of Kenya provides, because it is at the heart of our problem. We have politicians, and they've started, by the way. They're already moving around the country. I saw President Ruto today promise Muranga goodies, you know, roads, same thing, same old, the school stuff and all this, you know, now they're pledging billions already. You have, you know, governors and senators who have failed the people going around saying, I want another term. So it's not just at the presidency. MCAs, senators, governors, women reps that have failed the people because they have not fulfilled their mandate. They've failed to keep promises or made promises they never kept. Like the government, when Kenya Kwanza was campaigning, they made the commitment, for example, that there will be no more abductions. We know that our young people have been abducted. They said nobody will be houseless again, or evicted from their homes. They did exactly that. They promised jobs for Mama Mboga, border guys. The opposite has been happening. Of course, if you ask them, they'll give you their scorecard and say, this is what we've done. This is, like I said, if you are going to build people, look at their stomachs, look at their children, whether they are able to go to school or not. Look at whether they can take money, they have money in their pockets. Look at how many industries are closing shop in Kenya and going to Egypt and Tanzania. So all those things cumulatively go to show that the economy is doing very, very badly.
Now you're talking about...
values are about keeping your promises, being able to be accountable. You don't tell people that you're going to reduce government spending and then you increase it. You don't tell people that you're going to build for them affordable houses, then you realize this is a government scheme for contractors and people to supply, materials. So you've got to keep your word. And the Kigame presidency says, beginning with the president, yes, but going to everyone in parliament, in the public service, you've got to keep your promises. And I come from a Christian tradition that says in Ecclesiastes 5, it's better not to promise than to promise and then you don't fulfill.
So you're talking about the current government failing to keep its promises.
Even the previous ones.
Even the previous ones.
Yes, Uhuru failed. Kibaki really tried, I must say. Moi failed desperately. The first president tried a bit, but he's one of those who introduced most of the problems we have today. Capitalistic extractionism, he introduced tribalism. And even though you hear people talk about tribalism, like Shan tribalism, you look at them and you wonder, do you have the mandate to actually say you are not tribal? The two, that made it into government, vis-a-vis President Ruto and Gachagua, are actually tribalists. If you look at how they formed government, that's why Gachagua was talking about the shareholder economy. That if you did not contribute to this government, then you cannot, be part of it. You cannot benefit from it. And then they come and say they are not tribalists. So they are the key tribalists. So failed promises. Absolutely. In your Jenga Mkenya manifesto, which pillar do you believe could transform Kenya the fastest? And how would you implement it in your first 100 days? The biggest reward I can give to Kenya in terms of fixing this country is going at corruption with hammers. How? So first of all, appointments into office, because that's where corruption begins. People who have been adversely mentioned, people who have cases, they've stolen, they have lied, they have taken other people's shambas, they have grabbed from NYS or other parastatals. Those people, I tell you KK, I call you KK because yes. Those people will not make it into my government. That's the first step to hit at corruption. Secondly... So one of your practical ways in which you will curb corruption? Is, first of all, right from the campaign, not just when I form government. I want to surround myself with these wonderful Kenyan professionals that have not taken people's shambas or stolen from government parastatals or want to sell Kenya for a song, the way they want to sell pipeline or want to sell a JKIA. These are capitalists, extractionist capitalists that trade with the lives of people. I don't want those in government. The second thing we do is go back in history, beginning with President Ruto into Uhuru, and those who worked with Kibaki and who brought us to Anglo leasing. These people borrowed money or took money in the name of projects. We know who signed for them. Now we keep talking about odious debt. These people signed for monies, got money either from China or from Europe, the Eurobond and all these things. Then they promised to build dams and so on, and then in the end, they did not put that money into circulation to do those projects. I will go for them because they then make us pay, for what they have hidden in offshore accounts. That is plunder. That is rogue leadership. And so I'll go for them. But then we'll also make stealing very expensive and also lucrative in some sense, because if you unveil graft, I'm going to pay you for it. I'll pay you for revealing graft in your company or in a particular place of government. So, and then of course, I want a leaner government. I want a smaller government under 20 ministries. A lot of ministries need to be merged. And so we will be cutting down and then, of course, invest in industries, make Kenya a 24-hour economy where you can do 2 or 3 jobs. I want to see a university student go to school during the day and in the evening work at Java or go into driving Uber or whatever. We need to make this economy work for the people. And of course, invest in agriculture and then production. We don't want to import things that we can produce here. I hate to see toothpicks come into this country from China. It is criminal. Sugar, the sugar industry, it's in the hands of barons that are destroying, and then they go and import sugar and then sell it as Nzoia and or Mumias. This must stop. So you deal with corruption, and that's how you deal with all these ghost projects, ghost schools, ghost workers, ghost hospitals, because that's where the siphoning goes. Yes.
Devolution was meant to bring services closer to the people. You're talking about ghost projects, counties being crippled by debt, mismanagement. Exactly how would you what would you do differently when elected as president?
If I was elected president today, and I request you do elect me as president, the first thing I would do with regard to devolution is reduce sending money to already developed areas of the country and concentrate on what I'm calling demarginalization. For example, one way of ending banditry, the so-called banditry in the Kapedo and all these Turkana, Pokot, Marakwet, is to actually open up those regions, build good roads, build schools so that those kids don't go to the bush to handle AK-47s. Make sure Lodwar, has water. Lake Turkana is functional. Bring all that water underneath the surface, under the ground, and desalinize it, make it consumable, and make Machakos, Kitui, Makueni arable by ensuring irrigation works. So demarginalization is what I call it. That I want to see the people of Pokomo and the Pokomo, I want to see the people of Lamu with so much agricultural land there, able to dig, to cultivate their grounds. This is demarginalization, but you have to go to the heart of some of the problems because, for example, in Lamu, it is people from outside Lamu that have title deeds. The local people of Lamu don't have, they're hardly given title deeds. We've got to reverse that. Honor people, dignify people, so that they are proud of development. So I would take development to where it is not, Mandera, Isiolo. Ensure that, places that have never seen, irrigation, for example, Kulalo, Galana, it keeps flopping. We must make it work. Now, what is going to happen? If you demarginalize, then places like informal settlements, like you have Kibera, Mathare, Mukuru kwa Njenga, you have people coming to Nairobi because they want jobs. What you do when you do demarginalization, you create jobs outside Nairobi, make those counties work. In fact, fund the counties, bring devolution to nearly 50% of the national budget funding, so that you don't keep, for example, doing what the president just did today, and that is keep taking development to Murang'a. Murang'a is okay. Let's take development to Isibania and Lokichogio and West Pokot. Let's take development where it's not. Yeah. Otherwise, if you don't do that, people will keep coming to Kenyatta Hospital when you should be building dispensaries and hospitals that work. Everywhere you go, even I was the other day at Mbale, referral hospital, Vihiga Referral Hospital. You find you are treated and then you're told you go outside, find a pharmacy, buy the medication there. These people, some doctors, some pharmacists are stealing medication from hospitals, taking them to private pharmacies. Under my government, my radar will be on them. Absolutely.
So you've really talked about when you become president, you'd get rid of most people. I'm curious to know, because politics requires alliances, negotiations, and compromises at times. Who are your allies today? And what are you willing to give up to build a winning coalition?
My first major alliance is the Gen Zs and the young people in general, because I think they understand what we are dealing with. People my age and upwards don't understand what Kenya is dealing with. Most people in the middle class are paying so many loans, they are heavily taxed, but they keep supporting tribalism and all these cocoons. These are the people that are making our children not marry each other, because they say you can't marry from that community, you can't trade with so-and-so, you can't vote so-and-so. That's how the millennials and upwards think, very retrogressively. So my first allies are young people, the Gen Zs, and nasema mchukue kura, tubadilishe mambo. The second allies I have are those who are pro-people. I don't care where you are, whether you are in government or outside government, you want a system that works for the people, I can work with you.
Do they know they are your allies?
Now they know. Now they know. You see, there's a very interesting tweet that Professor Ndii, put out in December of 2021. He said, if you want to fight corruption in Kenya, then don't look to UDA, because that is not what we want to deal with. And if you think Raila will eradicate corruption, then vote for him. But if you really want a country that runs on values, then vote for Reuben Kigame. He said that. He tweeted. And I'm basically saying values, values, values at the center of government. And so if someone is ready to fight corruption, I can work with them. If someone is ready to implement fully the Constitution, I can work with them. If someone is willing to build the lives of the Kenyan, empower the Kenyan, I can work with them. Yes.
You have spoken of leadership rooted in faith and character. But in politics, ideals often clash with reality. How will you prevent your vision from being dismissed as utopian?
So first of all, ideals clash with reality because the people who put forth those ideals are hypocrites. You can, if you actually believe telling lies is wrong, then that will never change, whether you are in government or outside government. But you find contradictions because people say one thing when they mean another. And that is the difference I'm bringing to the table. That if I told you that I'm going to do this and then I don't do it, you have the right to tell me, Reuben, you lied. But politicians in Kenya don't want that kind of accountability. And so I'm saying that if you elect Reuben Kigame into office, you begin with me. We must all be able to declare our wealth. We must show where we are getting all this money. There's no way, KK, I can go and say, I'm going to give this particular amount to Harambee Stars. And I make as a president maybe 2 million. You see? So I want people to be true. If I say no more abductions, I should never be seen to be abducting. And if anybody abducts someone under my government, they should be brought to book. The issue is this particular government, for example, now troubles and kills the Gen Zs and so on, but the people who actually abduct and kill them are still walking around free. That is how not to do government.
Okay. On that note, let's take a short break. We will be back here to get to know the lighter side of Dr. Reuben Kigame. Don't forget he's an artist, so I'd really love to know how he would want to incorporate that into his presidential race and ensure that the artistic side of Kenyans is also sorted out. I'll be back. Welcome back to Easy Friday. Tonight we are talking to Dr. Reuben Kigame, who once again has come to the spotlight, asking you to vote for him as president come 2027. Dr. Kigame, many Kenyans see you first as a musician and as a teacher. How are you going to incorporate your personal gifts to ensure that the socio-economic aspect in Kenya is well taken care of?
In a sense, Karen, the more gifts you bring to leadership, maybe the better for our country. Because when you talk about artists, I'm able to understand the musician, the painter, I'm able to understand the comedian, I'm able to understand those as legitimate, jobs and placements. On the other hand, having been a teacher, I can actually sympathize with what's going in the education sector, but also bring my expertise, because that's what I've been trained for, and I teach even right now. So this is not something I'm informing because somebody tells me. So that's really close to my heart. When I bring the issue of justice to the table, it's not because someone is pushing me, So I think all these gifts would be a blessing to Kenya. And of course, my faith, which makes me shut up when I need to, which makes me to say no to bribes, which makes me, keep my words. So all these, I believe, would be a gift. But also, I come to the table as a disruptor, because this is the first time a blind person is actually running for office, the highest office. And of course, people would say, ataweza kweli. So, na nimeweza aje hizo vitu zingine. So, we can go there another time when we have time. So, I'm a disruptor. I want inclusive politics. I come from Esiambale in Bunyore. I want, us to move from this, ping pong between Kikuyu and Kalenjin presidency. And so you have a blind, singing, justice advocate that is also a teacher and a philosopher. I think that's a good blend for the country.
PhD holder.
That's good for the country. But most of all, a lover of people. Because unless you really want to serve people, then don't go into leadership.
Exactly. You have spoken about justice. If the IEBC disqualifies you again, will you concede or will you fight them? Oh,
IEBC, I would never concede because they're supposed to be neutral. In fact, I would smoke them out. But if the Kenyans gave somebody else, the presidency, then I will certainly concede. Yes.
So you agree that if in any case you lose again, you will concede and congratulate the winner?
Absolutely. So this is the thing. I'm a justice advocate, so you cannot do injustice to me. Absolutely. And that's why even IBC and the government and Kenyans think that I forgot about 2022 and the case that is still in the Court of Appeal. I'm not forgotten. I will still follow. And justice will be done and seen to be done. And dare they try to exclude me from the ballot this time, I will fight even harder. Yes.
We don't have time. We would have really loved hear you play the guitar. But just tell us, are you really in this to become president, or is it just for you to raise your profile?
So, Karen...
In 1 second.
Yeah, I can't speak in 1 second. Okay, so if I wanted to be famous or popularity, Google my name, you can find me anywhere. I'm not running because I'm hungry. And neither am I running because I want power. I want nothing but serving the people of Kenya and turning this nation around. So help me God.
Amen. Your message to the Gen Zs, part of your allies who haven't registered, who have not taken their IDs and are not yet eligible to vote. Your message to them as you tell the listeners to vote for you.
So it's all been gazetted now that registration begins shortly at the end of this month. Please go and register. If you haven't collected your ID, go for it. If you haven't checked the status, you know, some people applied and forgot, go and check. Register in numbers so that your voice is heard. It's not enough to go to the streets. It is now time for us to put in a new government through the vote.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Daktari, for making time to speak to Kenyans.
Oh, thank you.
Your employers.
Yes, I like that. You have such a sweet spirit, Karen. Yes,
we
that's
wish you
how
all
it
the
should
best
be. Thank you.
Here at KBC Channel 1.
Appreciate.
And we will see you more come 2027 when you vie.
Asante
Thank
sana.
you so much.
Thank you.
Now, the government has